Where are my pills?
Filmmakers rarely make great films,
Where are my pills?
let alone make them again and again. In this video,
Thank you.
I'll be discussing those filmmakers with such consistency. Side note, I will be talking about lesser known filmmakers that not a lot of people know, since it sucks that you make great films but nobody's there to watch. Also, some of you already know big names like Stanley Kubrick, Paul Thomas Anderson, and Martin Scorsese, so why not hear the names of other great filmmakers? The first one is Theo Angelopoulos. I know it's a stretch to call him underrated or even unknown. He literally has won the Palme d'Or and arguably the best filmmaker from Greece. But I'm a bit surprised that a filmmaker with his filmography, one that could rival other amazing filmographies from other great filmmakers, is less talked about in a more mainstream discourse. So here I am talking about him. If I have to describe his films, the two words that I would use are immersive and hypnotic. His films are also a bit slow, but not slow like Chantal Akerman or Bellatar, more like Andrei Tarkovsky and Wim Wenders slow. Coincidentally, Theo Angelopoulos' films are pretty similar to both Wender and Tarkovsky's. Story-wise, I would put him between those two, with Wenders being here because his films explore life in a manner that a lot of people can easily understand. Meanwhile, Theo Angelopoulos' films are a bit more abstract and boring for people, but it's still enough, so that people still can understand them. Meanwhile, Tarkovsky's films are in style, his films are also similar to those two. It consists of lots of long shots with unbroken takes. Slow-moving cinematography, and people just talking and walking. So if you love Tarkovsky and Wender, this one's for you. According to Letterboxd, his three most popular films are Landscape in the Midst, Eternity and a Day, and Ulysses Gaze. If you want to start exploring his filmography, I suggest you watch his most popular film, again, according to Letterboxd, Landscape in the Midst. It's probably his easiest film to follow and understand. It doesn't ask much from the audience, although it's still meaningful enough for you to engage at it in a pretty high level if you want more from it. It's lighter than his other films and it's pretty immersive. But if you want to start with his best film, I suggest you watch Eternity and a Day. This is easily his masterpiece. This is one of the most emotionally fueled films I've ever watched. It is also very smart. The acting is incredible. The lead actor did his job terrifically well. The score is iconic. Actually, everything about the film is iconic. This film is also the film that gave him the Palme d'Or. So yeah, for a film that is just people talking and walking, this is pretty fucking amazing.
Leave her alone, you people, square, normal, boring people.
So if you already know who Theo Angelopoulos is and you want someone a bit more obscure, or you don't like films of people just talking and walking, my suggestion would be this guy, Jonas Mekas. Again, I think it's a bit excessive to call who is recognized as the godfather of American avant-garde film obscure. But considering that avant-garde is not a popular genre even for film nerds and cinephile, and considering he is less known than Theo Angelopoulos, I have to use that word. Jonas Mekas is a documentarian, so his films are documentary. What made him famous and loved by people who watch him is the style that he employs. His films are non-linear and full of footage that he personally took. He often narrates it with his own signature voice.
Here I am, just with my images and my sounds,
while speeding some of the footage and dissolving it with the others. In his films, he put a lot of himself into it, showing his own life and feelings instead of just showing big events. He liked to focus on everyday things. In it, he found beauty in everyday life and made them feel special. He also made his films feel personal and raw, adding jump cuts, smudges, etc. to the films, so it made them feel more like an amateur home video that our parents take when we're a child. If you want to start watching his films, the best film to start is Reminiscence of a Journey to Lithuania. The film is much shorter compared to his other films and introduces us to his styles and the ideas that he likes to explore quite simply. And side note, the film is my favorite from him. But if you want to start with a bang and want to see his best film first, almost all people agree that as I was moving ahead occasionally, I saw brief glimpses of beauty is his masterpiece. I actually don't agree that it is his best, but I did cry while watching the film, so I guess that's where. Now, if you still know both Theo Angelopoulos and Jonas Mekas, and you want a new director to watch, let me introduce you to Franco Piavoli. Now, I used words like unknown and obscure before to describe filmmakers above, but I think it actually makes sense this time, saying that none of his films is even watched more than 5,000 members in Letterboxd. Also, only one of his films got a Wikipedia page. Wow. His style of filmmaking is focused on his visuals and how the film builds the poetry he wants to tell. Almost none of his films have a character who speaks, so instead, he just shows us the narrative of the film and his points. His trademark style is to show the faces of the character in the film. Limiting the use of language, Franco Piavoli realized that the most strong and easy to understand way of communication is through the faces of people. Whether they are smiling, crying, looking at one another, reminiscing, envying, all these emotions speaks louder than anything that we have to say. To start, I suggest his most popular film titled Nostos the Return. I find it to be his easiest to understand, although still cryptic and full of symbolisms, and straightforward. His cinematography and the style he employs shines the best in this film, and mixed with the story of Odyssey, I found the film to be super engaging. But if you're interested in checking another film from him, I suggest you watch Voices Through Time.
There was never such a time. We must construct our own salvation in the future, in the now.
Now moving on to the last director of the list. This director is more well known than the director before, Franco Piavoli. But for his impact and the things he talked about in his films, it's very shameful that he isn't as famous as he should have been. And he is Marlon Riggs. His films are very personal. They tackle strong subjects like race and sexuality by analyzing them using his personal experience, being a gay black man in America. I don't think any of his films even go above an hour, but it's enough to tell you his reality. His film styles are very different than most documentaries I've watched. His narrations are unique. He has a particular style of talking about things that I've never seen. Combined with the stuff he talked about, it makes for a totally new experience. To be honest, I would never do him any justice, so I genuinely suggest that you watch his films yourself instead of hearing one man's opinion online. His most popular film is Tongues Untied, where he talked about his experience growing up as and the general life of being a gay black man in America. The film is eye-opening to say the least. For such a deep subject matter, the film does a great job of introducing it using a great responsibility, knowing the sensitivity of the subject, and pushing discussions about the film and the subject matter instead of taking advantage of it. But the best film that I think you should start with, which I also think is his best film, which also tragically is his final film, is his film called Black is Black Aim. In it, he goes deep into his own life, talking about the whole black experience from his perspective. I've never seen a filmmaker be so open and vulnerable in front of the camera, talking about their own private life. In this, he genuinely is the main focus. His stories and the way the film shows them always elicit awe. Everything about this film is what I hope a documentary should be. Fun, exciting, entertaining, and never boring.
To tell the truth, there's nothing better in this world than my Big Mama's gumbo. I guess it's because it's got a little bit of everything in it.
Well, there goes the gumbo.
That's all, folks.
So that's it. That's the end of the list. As I'm writing this, I'm already thinking of other filmmakers that I want to put into this list. So if you want more videos like this video and subscribe to see more videos.